So Vokey as a pitching wedge. So with the guys here at Team Titleist, Vokey pitching wedge or pitching wedge from my set. Not often the most common question, but when I did an in the bag with Jordan Spieth, he's using a Vokey pitching wedge. Should we see if there's any benefits for using a Vokey pitching wedge or not? Do a few tests. Does that sound like an idea?
I think it'd be very interesting to see the difference in feel, turf interaction, and performance to help make the right choice for you.
So we're going to start with my club pitching wedge to kick us off.
We've got a 78-yard shot. We'll start with your club, gather some data, and then swap out clubs, not tell you what you're hitting, and start to see if there's a trend, positive, negative, different feel.
Perfect. So obviously that's my club. I feel quite comfortable with that. Shots were not bad at all. You're not going to show me what we're going to hit next. We're going to move to a different model, is that right?
Yeah, we'd like to see how you perform without the preconceived notions about what that model should or shouldn't do. Just have you hit shots and tell us how it feels, and we'll track the results.
Cool, so I'm going to not look.
All right.
Thank you. 4 shots.
4 shots, the same target.
So instantly I look at this and I feel that I can see that I feel like I'm going to have to adjust, because it feels more like my 9 or 8 iron straight away, just by looking at it. So it doesn't mean I can't hit shots with it. It means more to me that I feel like I'm having to work harder, and I guess the question we'll talk about is, do I really want to work harder? There's enough things to work at, isn't there? Slightly clean, that one, but still doing the job. Okay, so that was AP3, right? It was. Like, that did feel,
yeah,
like there was work was needed.
As you noted, there's an adjustment in loft.
Yeah.
So you're taking a more partial swing or a shorter swing.
Absolutely.
That's something that obviously you can do. You hit your distances.
Yeah.
But that's something to think about through the set as you're fitting, to make sure that you have nice tight gaps so that your adjustments are as small as possible.
I always feel when I'm making a smaller swing as well, like I can get a bit pulley, which I don't like on a three-quarter shot. For me, I used to love. I played them all, but I don't play as much or practice like I used to. I had to hit a pitching wedge into a wind and hit a number. I'm nervous I'm going to pull it.
Okay.
So you start taking loft off, I'm even more anxious.
That's good information as a fitter, to know that, what your tendencies are, so we can choose clubs that get you away from bad tendencies and towards good ones.
Absolutely, which is an important point, isn't it? Lots of players don't share those things, or the fitter doesn't get it out of them. It's so important that the fitter is trying to always extract that kind of information, isn't it?
It works best when you have 2 good communicators, both the person being fit and the fitter, and they start to have that discussion. You learn more, both of you learn more, and you get the better result.
Absolutely.
This is the next club for us to hit.
Thank you. Okay, again, instantly looking at this, it feels more gameable.
Oh, yeah. Touched it on the bounce.
Okay, so this is the order I hit the wedges in. So starting with mine, then going to AP3. AP3 for me really did show how I didn't like to manipulate. I could see there was less loft in that club. Then I went to AP2, which, to be honest with you, I didn't personally see much difference in my MB. But there were things happening with the Vokey that we'll talk about that did make me think, like, I've never done this test, and I was thinking, I wish I had. Like, I can see why good players are using this as a wedge, which we'll talk about as we look at the data. So what was the data showing us?
So one of the key things to take away is your muscle back was 47 degrees.
Okay.
The Vokey that we tested out was 46.
Yeah.
So the loft there could be a level of comfort, If you prefer looking down at a 47 to make your swing, create the shot that you want to see, your launches, your spins were all kind of relative. So the big takeaway is that you're looking to control the distance the best that you can. So the deviation between yours was plus or minus 6.5 yards. The deviation between the Vokey was plus or minus 2 yards.
Which is interesting because the actual the average was closer with mine.
Correct.
But obviously if I hit 4 shots, 2 10 yards short and 2 10 yards long, it's going to give me an average of the distance even though I never hit it. But the standard deviation you're saying was tighter with the Vokey.
Much tighter, and that's where you're starting to think about, is that sole of the club working in your favor so that you can be marginally off,
yeah,
and you can create the same distance shot. So being north and south rather than worrying about east and west as much.
So for me, from your turf, and I sometimes don't think you guys realise maybe how tight your turf is compared to what certainly average Joe in the UK play on, and what I would play on lots of the time, because we don't play, you know, we go and play a course in the week, they're not cutting it for us, you don't know what time you've got it on their rotor of kind of maintenance, what have you. These really tight pure lies, the Vokey made me feel like the bounce that I could feel on it was absolutely the biggest thing that would make me want to put that in the bag.
And bounce is your friend, so
yeah,
a little bit extra bounce, especially in wet conditions, in soft turf conditions, or it allows you to be more aggressive, and you can attack the shot a little bit more rather than kind of flinch through it. That's positive.
I mean, I don't use my wedge because I would rather hit a 50 in a Vokey. If I start using my wedge and have to hit that 3/4 shot, I feel like I can get diggy and I feel I can pull it. As soon as you gave me that Vokey and the thicker, because it's a thicker sole, isn't it? If we put the two up together,
yes.
I mean, it's
comparison.
noticeably thicker in just, it's literally the width of it, isn't it?
It's thicker, it has a little more bounce, both the effective bounce because of the thickness of the sole and the actual measured bounce. So for you, this is a better choice.
100%, all day long. Yep. So we can do a couple of other tests, but what's interesting, so for the guys and girls at home who maybe aren't in obviously a Loft equivalent, because that's why I'm doing this as well, not just for me to get the best clubs, it's all about me. You know, if someone's got AP3, AP1, maybe this isn't the best option, or is it? What do you guys think? What's your opinions?
Yeah, I think I'd look at what your shot you're trying to create. So we might take your set through a 47-degree wedge or even a 48 and then transition to Vokey. But looking at that inflection point of when you're starting to create shots and want to manipulate the club more, then Vokeys start to become the choice, because it's going to interact better through the rough, through different conditions, than maybe a wide chassis, wide bodied club. So we got to hit shots. We got to find out. Well,
we're going to do a test now which kind of might show that up in theory. Let's see what it does show.
Yes.
So what shot are we going to play now?
Well, we want to create a different shot that requires you to be a little more versatile with your wedge.
Yeah.
It's a 30-yard carry to a plateaued green.
Okay.
So it's very exacting. If you come up short, the ball will stop short. If you come long, it'll run long. But we find that pushing a player to the breaking point of different shots is a better examination of which club will work better while you play.
And I'm going from more of a, what you would, I mean, it's funny that you would call this rough really, but it's
pretty nice rough.
Yeah. It's kind of semi though, isn't it? As in, if I was hitting a full shot from there,
you'd expect a little flyer.
Yeah, maybe. I would be clubbing with caution.
Yes.
Compared to obviously what we were just hitting.
This one gives you a little more versatility if you want to go under it. There's a little more room.
Yeah.
So it might expose that, and it might tell us that more bounce is a good thing.
And like you say, we're going to your skills green, which is just like, I mean, what your skills greens prove to me, unfortunately, is I haven't got many skills.
Yeah. It's not the most confidence building
it's
area.
Like the non-skills green, I'm going to start calling it. So I'm going to start with AP3 pitching wedge. So it's like a pitch. You have to land it on the plateau and let it run.
Yeah, just at the crest of the plateau. Yeah. Oh.
Not a bad shot.
I love it when the camera runs with that shot.
It's like you've done this before.
Yeah. I mean, they're decent shots, but I feel like this one's...
You have to take it a little too easy on this one because of the loft?
It feels fiery. Like going in lower and faster.
Right.
Like I'm going to have to be on the money with this.
That's a good one there.
So now I'm going to do it with my MB. So again, instantly just looking at that loft when it comes to this kind of shot just makes more sense in my head. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the data, that feels higher and landing softer in my head. Short, but again I feel like I could do so much more with this. But now you've shown me more bounce, I'm still feeling like I can't feel any of the sole there at all, which is now I'm not liking that as much. But let's look at the numbers. So let's look at the numbers of these two. For me, it was AP3, wasn't it, I was using, felt like it was going in lower and hotter. So what I mean by that is in lower and then hotter, because it's the land angle's changing how much I felt like it would roll out on a skill screen like that, which is asking a big question of me. What actually did happen?
So here's the interesting part. You're looking at pitching wedges and you're thinking about the loft of the golf club, but you're not understanding that you as the player might adjust to what you're looking at visually down on the ground. Yeah. So the speed of the ball coming off the face is the same, 41.7 versus 41.5. It's the same. So you as the player are controlling the velocity of the golf ball as opposed to the club being too hot. Yeah. The launch angle, even though the clubs have different lofts, 4 degrees difference, they still come out at 23.7 and 23.4. Wow. But the main difference... Peak height? Peak height was 10 feet and 10 feet.
Which is, that's not what I'm seeing. So I'm bringing preconceptions to the table there, aren't I?
Landing angle 26.7 and 26. So the main difference is you had 400 less RPMs of spin in the AP3.
So that's the hotness that I'm perceiving, even though obviously I'm not seeing that. Right. I'm reacting to that rollout, aren't I?
And I think the difference for you is you do react, and you reacted positively to your MB. You felt it came in softer and it was easier to make an aggressive swing. And that's where it's an individual player decision. Some players who like to play it on the ground and want the ball to roll more might say that AP3 produced better results.
Exactly what I wanted. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
So that's where it's a discussion and a discovery for you. It's clear the MB is a better choice.
So while you say that, for me, I mean, I will be going for a Vokey in a pitching wedge because I want that bounce.
Yeah, I think that's the next test is let's get a Vokey hitting that same shot and understanding how that's going to work. Just to confirm, it worked better on the 80-yard shot. We want to make sure it works better greenside too.
So we're going to go SM7 46 10F. So in the Vokey, I'm going to do one from the lie I was on, but I also want to do 2 from there because that's where I feel the bounce is. That's when I'm going to want that extra sole on those tighter lies. I want that bit of help.
This is where you find out how much you like bounce. When you get tight lies into the grain, that's when you really appreciate bounce.
For me, again, it's the look and it's the fact that I can feel that landing and helping me. But I would find that relatively easy. To me, that's like semi-nice. Let's get on that stuff. Yeah. So from this lie, instantly I want that bounce. Is just, I'm loving that. And it's syncing with my other clubs, which is the whole point, isn't it, I think? So not, the loft isn't only syncing and the look, but the bounce is sinking. The 9-iron run, I'm going to be catching it completely clean. I'm not going to be playing with bounces. It's like a putt, isn't it? But a pitching wedge, I'm 100% interacting with the ground.
And you talked earlier about landing the sole as opposed to controlling the face.
Absolutely.
You can land the sole here more confidently.
Yeah, well, I can feel the sole as I put it there. Yeah.
There's an example.
It's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
I'm actually slightly disappointed. Like, I test stuff a lot, and what I love about this video is you can actually see me learning through it. So most tests that we do, like, I know the outcome before we film them, and I say let's find out, but I've done it 3 times. That's why I'm making the video, to show and hope everyone gets more educated and makes better decisions. But this, I've never compared a Vokey to a pitching wedge, and that's a complete eye opener for me.
And I think for wedge fitting, it's important to bring diverse shots into.
Yeah.
Not just hitting full swings off turf at the driving range, but a variety of shots, different trajectories, different distances. That's when you find out which one works best. And the last shot was the best example. You hit a little bit behind it.
Yeah.
That's where the bounce takes over and gets you through to a
decent
shot
result.
that went 11 feet away.
Yeah, lovely.
It touched and bounced.